page 277 at the bottom. Ya la la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la. Shana Tova, everyone. Thank you for being with us this morning. It's a beautiful day, and it is beautiful to see so many in our community gathered together. I'm Rabbi Robin Spar. It is a great honor and pleasure to have my seminary mate and colleague, Rabbi Dan Betzel, with us throughout these high holidays. Please make sure that before we begin our service in earnest, you have equipped yourself with things that you will need. Ideally, a printed or Kindle version of our Machzor. If you've not got one of those, Spencer will put, I just put again the link in the chat to find the flipbook version so that you might follow along. We'll also share on screen some items that are not in the book. You also might want to gather a few extra things with you for today. At the end of our service, we will say blessings for wine, for challah, for apples and honey. So if you have those things handy and want to grab them, you can certainly do that. I will also offer you an opportunity during the sermon to have a couple of minutes of reflection and writing. So if it is your custom to write on Chag, then that's great, and you can grab some paper and a pencil or pen. If it's not your custom to write on Chag, it's perfectly fine, of course, to just meditate on the reflections I will give you. A couple of words about Zoom. Please ensure that you know how to turn your microphone and video on and off, since we will sometimes ask you to mute yourself, or we may ask you to unmute at certain points in the service so that we can hear one another in community, even though there is that sort of Zoom cacophony when we read or sing together. Sometimes it is nice to feel that sense of community. Many people find it less fatiguing to turn their self-view off, since we don't go through life looking in a mirror while we talk to other people. If you'd like to turn your self-view off, the way to do that is to hover your mouse over the top right corner of your picture. You'll see 3 dots, and one of the options in there is hide self-view, which can be a great idea. You'll also note that you can select how you're viewing the Zoom. Up at the top right, it says view, and there's a little box. One choice is to view the whole gallery, which is you see everybody, which is kind of fun. Another view is to choose the speaker, which means that you'll hear the person or see the person whose mic is open or is the loudest in that moment. Often that means that you'll get to see whoever is actually leading the service. If you need any technical help, you can put a note in the chat to Spencer Rothman. He is our tech support person, and he'll be able to help you out. On the off chance that Zoom fails, please try reconnecting after a couple of minutes, or if for any reason we can't continue on Zoom, look for us over on YouTube at TEMV Lowell. We will try to stream live. If that fails, well, we hope that you will make the most of the day by reading or meditating upon the texts in the prayer book, or communing with nature, or journaling, or finding ways to observe the holiday and align yourself with your best purposes. Our service continues with Rabbi Betzel.
Shana Tova. Your book of life doesn't begin today on Rosh Hashana. It began when you were born. Some of the chapters were written by other people, your parents, siblings, and teachers. Parts of your book were crafted out of experiences you had because of other people's decisions, where you lived, what schools you went to, what your homes were like. But the message on Rosh Hashana, the anniversary of the creation of the world, is that everything can be made new again, that much of your book is written every day by the choices you make. The book is not written and sealed. You get to edit it. You can decide what parts you want to emphasize and remember, and maybe even which parts you want to leave behind. Shana Tova means both a good year and also a good change. Today, you can change the rest of your life. It is never too late. Page 106. So if you have a talit or even a scarf, I want to share with you a little insider ritual that I learned from one of my teachers, Dr. Simcha Raphael. He is one of the liturgy teachers at the Aleph Institute, the Renewal Movement. And just find what he has to say about lahit atef, which is a reflexive verb, about wrapping ourselves, lahit atef, batzitzit, with the tzitzit. So if you can, just open up your talit and run your fingers across the atara, across the blessing, across the collar. Just notice how beautiful it is, and maybe feel, is it embossed? Can you feel it? And then he kisses it. And he puts it over his head and holds it just for a second, like a chuppah or like the sukkah. And then he wraps himself with it tightly, and he feels the arms of our tradition and the arms of our ancestors holding us like a cocoon. And then he holds it out just for a second, like wings for flying. And notice, have you ever noticed that a talit will never have squares, but it's always going to have lines that go into infinity. They stretch in both directions, very much like a runway at an airport. It's so that our angels can land and take off. Just find it a beautiful way to think about putting on our talit in the morning and wrapping ourselves in the arms of our tradition, our ancestors, and our history. So please join with me toward the middle of the page 106 for the blessing for putting on the talit. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahit atef, for wrapping ourselves b'tzatzit. Amen.
Amen.
Page 109.
I have awakened again, and I give thanks. Before me, the blessing of this day, a feast of choices and possibilities. And the breath within me says, great is your faithfulness. You offer me another chance. You offer me life. This day I am created to create this day. Spencer, there we go. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
Page 112, in the middle of the page here. Our God, eternal, let us taste the sweetness of your Torah's words, and let them give pleasure to your people, the house of Israel, so that we, our children, and all generations of Israel to come shall know your name and study your Torah for its own sake. Baruch atah Adonai, hamalamed Torah le'emo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, who instructs your people Israel in the ways of Torah. Page 115.
Having said the prayer for study, we are now obligated to engage with sacred texts. The pages ahead contain a traditional text. Each contains a traditional text and some commentary. We ordinarily would encourage you to find a partner. We're actually going to put you in breakout rooms so that you will have some partners automatically assigned to you. And we will invite you to read the text on page 115 regarding mitzvot that are considered limitless. We're wondering, and we would ask you to consider with your partners, do you agree with this list that these are the mitzvot that are limitless? Are there other mitzvot that you would add, or any that you would take away from this list? And what obstacles do you see to performing any of these mitzvot? So again, you're going to look at this list. Do you think that this list is a good list of limitless mitzvot? And if any of them are hard to do, or any should be added to it. Spencer will send you into breakout rooms in just a moment. We'll see you back here in about 6 or 7 minutes. Land of your soul, return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. On page 141, the Chatzi Kaddish for her holidays. Yitgadal ve'yitkadosh Shemei Rabbah ve'yamad divrach hirutei ve'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uve'yomechon uve'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי המaya יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר יתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר יתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילה ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen. We rise in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu on page 142. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Page 143.
Illuminate the welders and shipyards with the brilliance of their torches. Let the crane operator lift up his arm for joy. Let elevators creak and speak, ascending and descending in awe. Let the mercy of the flower's directions beckon in the eye. Let the straight flower bespeak its purpose in straightness to seek the light, and let the crooked flower bespeak its purpose in crookedness to seek the light. Let the crookedness and straightness bespeak the light. Page 150.
Each time we come to Shema during these high holy days, we'll take a moment to deeply engage with the meaning of the words. After we chant Shema, please take a few moments to consider the additional texts on pages 150 and 151, or to tune into the prayers of your heart. When you feel your meditation is complete, then you may be seated or just wait patiently for the next part of our service. We rise in body or spirit for the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Page 152. Ve'ahavta את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 161. The Israelites walked into the Reed Sea, 1 foot at a time. What were they thinking about as the water rose up their legs, chilling their hearts, advancing toward their open mouths? We continued to walk here, now, 1 foot at a time, on our better days forward. Alone, I cannot reach the far shore without drowning. Somehow I don't go under. The person to my right holds me up. Something I cannot see holds him up. Blessed is the source of help, so often unexpected. I step forward. The sea is vast. Page 164.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. שירה חדשה שיבחו גלים לשמך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו למליכו ואמרו אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדחנו ממך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 165. They went forth from Egypt on a single night, but next time the miracle will be different. Once 2 sages were walking very early in the valley, and they saw the light of the morning star. Said one to the other, "This is how the redemption will be. The dawn breaks with a single ray of light, and bit by bit the sky is illumined until morning comes and the darkness is gone. So the redemption will occur little by little, growing steadily and gradually until the world is full of light. Do not wait for a miracle or the sudden transformation of the world. Bring the day closer, step by step, with every act of courage, of kindness, of healing and repair. Do not be discouraged by the darkness. Let every spark you can, lift up every spark you can, and watch the horizon for the coming of dawn. Look closely. It has already begun." Please rise in body or spirit, page 168.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים החיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Page 170. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, לחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממיט ומחיה ומצמיח ישוע. מי כמוך אל הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ורחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. Please be seated.
Page 173. Our actions help us live in such a way that when we suffer life's darkest depredations, we will always have ways of coping with them. Our actions may not change the ultimate outcome one iota, but they alter our attitude, bolster our ability to withstand challenges, help us handle unavoidable misfortunes better, and see life's value amid chaos and dismay. Page 174.
We come to the Unatana Tokef, a plaintive prayer, one that is typically sung in as a recitative by the cantor. You'll hear the sort of, the cantorial word is the krechts, that sort of cry that is put in the voice as we pray that God will hear our call, hear our prayers, and answer us in mercy and love. Page 174. ונתנה תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא ואיום, ובוא תינשא מלכותך, וייכון בחסד כיסאך, ותשב עליו באמת, אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח, ויודע יבהד, וחוטא וחותם וסופר ומאליו יקרא, וחותם יד כל אדם בו.
Page 177. Just as the shadow of a person does whatever that person does, so too does the divine do what we do. Divinity is the shadow of human action. If we save a human life, so too does God. If we decide to end a human life, God does also. At some level, the utterly transcendent divinity is right at hand, for the divinity we hope to worship is a shadow of ourselves, our best parts and our worst. If you want to see God save the innocent, you need to get off the couch and save the innocent. If you want to see God feed the hungry, you need to feed the hungry. If you want to see God stand by while the innocent suffer, all you need to do is stand by and do nothing yourself. So please rise in body or spirit, page 202, the Great Aleinu.
In deference to the Almighty, we now bend the knee. If you wish, you may lie prostrate to the floor or consider the text on page 200. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. On page 206, you will find, we now arrive at the first of the three traditional sections of shofar calls. This first section is called Malchuyot, sovereignty, or God's rulership. The next will be Zichronot, remembrance, and the last is Shofrot, or calls to action. Another approach is to consider the sections this way. Malchuyot is transcendent God. You are nothing in the wider context of the universe. It's not about you. Zichronot is a God of personal relationship. You are everything. It's all about you. And shofarot are those elements of our relationship that can't be defined in metaphors. Let us begin with contemplating our smallness in relation to the universe. Spencer will share the recording of the shofarot and blessings. Feel free to sing along or say amen with the blessings. Spencer, do you need a minute? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן. תקיעה שברים תרועה תקיעה תקיעה שברים תקיעה תקיעה תרועה תקיעה.
Page 211. To our sages who toiled, to the one who chopped wood, to the one who raised cattle, to the storekeeper, the cobbler, and the one who sold salt, to the one who brewed beer and the one who filled casks of wine, to the tailor, to the teacher, to the dealer in cotton, to the one who scrubbed clothing, to the keeper of vines, to the merchant of silk, to the one who plowed fields, to the builder of houses, to the doctors and scribes, to the blacksmith, to the tanner, to the digger of graves. Let us give thanks for a tradition that sanctifies work. Let us honor those who toil and sustain the world in noble and humble ways. We acknowledge those whose labor goes unnoticed. We praise the strength of their hands and the dedication of their hearts. Page 214.
With our hearts newly opened by the sound of the shofar, let us bless one another with these words of the priestly benediction. I will chant them in Hebrew. Rabbi Betzel will say them in English. We invite you, if you are with others, you might want to come close to them, and you may lay your hands on one another's shoulders or heads, or just be close to one another so that you are actually imparting these words of blessing to one another. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, barchenu b'bracha המשולשת, הכתובה בתורה. יברכך אדוני,
May you know God's blessings of shelter and care.
May it be so. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha, v'chuneka ken yehi ratzon.
May you receive the light of God's kindness and grace. May it be so.
Isa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom ken yehi ratzon.
May you see God's favor and goodness, and may you partake of God's peace. May it be so. Page 217. Let the pursuit of peace and justice be our highest good, and may all people make peace their responsibility. Let Torah be a light that guides our lives toward empathy and understanding, toward generosity of heart. Let peace be our passion, chief among our prayers, every season of the year, every hour of the day. Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom. You are the Blessed One, eternal source of shalom. We now have a few moments for the silent meditations of our hearts. After the silence, we will continue together on page 220.
יהי רצון אמרי פי, יהי רצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו, Amen. As we step into the Torah service, we beseech the Eternal for blessings and forgiveness with the words of Avinu Malkeinu on page 228. We rise in body or spirit before the open ark. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, Eyadol Aleinu, V'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kali Dever, V'cherev Ra'av, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kali Kotzar, Umastin, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kadvenu, Chanenu v'anenu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu, Ki ein banu masim. Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Ve'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chanenu v'anenu, Ki ein banu masim. Page 228. On these days of awe, we stand before the ark and sing the text of Avinu Malkeinu to petition the source of life on behalf of our community and ourselves. It's said that when Moshe Rabbeinu, wanted to ensure a favorable response to his own petition, he would begin by invoking God's 13 names or attributes. Today we pray the Holy One will favor us with these merciful attributes, and we sing the same words that Moses offered, beginning with Adonai, Adonai, at the top of page 228. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Vechanun, Adonai, 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 El Rachum Vechanun, Adonai, Erech Apahim Verav Chesed, Ve'emet Adonai, Notzer chesed lalafim, nosei avon v'fesha, v'chata'a v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'chanun, Adonai, 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 El Rachum V'chanun, Adonai. Erech apahim v'rav chesed, ve'emet Adonai. Notzer chesed lalafim, nosei avon v'fesha, v'chata'a v'nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'chanun, Adonai, 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 El Rachum V'chanun, Adonai. And now as we hold the Torah, I think that maybe Spencer has an image for us, I'm not certain. With the ark still opened, we sing Shema and Echad, and of course at the high holidays, Shema has a special melody for the Torah service, so I will sing the melody that is special for the high holidays, and then I invite you to repeat, but in the melody that you already are familiar with. So here we are, we're still on page 228. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. We sing together, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora, Shemo together, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Gadolu l'Adonai iti, u'neromema shemo yachtav. Thank you, Spencer, for that share. We now are in the Torah service, and for our first Torah reader will be Rabbi Betzel, and so we call to the Torah Ya'amod Harav Boaz ben Shmuel veRivka Rishon Torah. In addition, we call all of those who have something to celebrate in this past year, or have learned something new in this past year, or have in some way realigned. So if you would take the honor of receiving an aliyah at this moment, please turn to page 230 where the Torah blessings are found and unmute your mic so that we can chant the blessing together along with Rabbi Betzel. Spencer will share up the text that Rabbi Betzel will read. We are in Breshit, the beginning of creation. So Spencer, as soon as you'll put that up so that we can see the text that we are blessing. Fantastic. There's Breshit right at the beginning, meaning beginning. Let us chant together the Torah blessings, mics unmuted. Baruch et Adonai Baruch Adonai Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Natan lanu et Baruch atah Adonai
Notain HaTorah.
Amen. Breshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu v'choshech al pnei tehom ve'ruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim vayomer Elohim yehi or vahi or vayar Elohim et haor ki tov v'yavdel Elohim ben haor ובין החושך, ויקרא אלוהים לאור יום, ולחושך קרא לילה, ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום אחד.
Let's sing the second blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan לנו Torah temet לחיי עולם Baruch atah Adonai Notein HaTorah. Thank you, and Yasher Koch to all of you and to Rabbi Betzel. There's a special prayer during the Torah service that acknowledges and offers gratitude for having survived a life-threatening ordeal. Although Birkat HaGomel was originally intended for recovery from sickness, it is appropriate for any person to say this prayer if they've had a narrow escape from physical illness, or are recovering from any difficulty of body, mind, or spirit, or have managed to overcome a significant hurdle in business or personal life. I invite all of those who have overcome or escaped such an obstacle during this past year to join me at the top of page 233. Certainly, I feel like almost all of us who have survived in this last year of COVID should be benching Gomel, but as you wish. The top of page 233, we're going to say the top paragraph together in Hebrew and English, and then everyone will respond at the very bottom of the page, just that one English response at the very, very last line of the page. Let us read together, those of us who wish to bench Gomel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hagomer lechayavim tov Blessed are you, our God eternal, your majesty fills the creation. Through your generosity,
I have experienced your goodness.
and we answer one another with that last line. May the source of goodness bring you goodness
at all times.
Amen ve'amen. Also, before we continue with the rest of the Torah service, this is the moment while the scroll is open to offer Mishaberach. In our own community, we think of Leslie Baskin and Karen Force, David Gilmore, Leslie Gregg, Sandy Klein, Esther Land, Jane Main, Rachel Rand, David Singer, Janie Weissman, Rhoda Doppler-Levy and Larry Levy, Leah Batbabet, Elisheva Batbabet. And in my own list, Andy Funk, Carol Spar, and Phyllis Worlin. If you have names to share aloud, I invite you to do so at this time, aloud or into the chat as you wish.
Sylvia Bugby.
Thank you.
Alex Lehner,
Thank you.
Seth Galat and Milton.
Thank you.
Jada Serrata.
Kathy Burmeister, Kathy Wolf, Steve Jonas.
Kelsey Broughton, Chuck McCann.
Thank you. Together with the names stated aloud and those in the chat, we send blessings of healing and well-being to all of those named. The way that we will sing Mishaberach this morning is actually in two parts. The Mishaberach prayer is found on page 245. It's the second half of this page. I'm going to invite you to please mute your mics. I will sing through the Mishaberach twice. The first time I ask that you not sing. I know that you all know it and it's fun to sing along. Please don't sing. This first repetition of Mishaberach all the way through is for you. It is for your healing, for your wellness, for whatever obstacles you face, that you may be strengthened and guided in your path ahead. So please do not sing, but receive this first sing through of the entire prayer, both stanzas, as a blessing for yourself. So really just open yourselves to receiving blessing and not to singing at this time. Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha La'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. It's still not your turn to sing. Still receiving Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And now we'll sing the whole song again. You'll sing with me. I ask you to sing with, keep your mics muted, but by singing together, let us amplify the prayers for peace to all of those you hold in your hearts, all of those we've named aloud and in the chat, and who we hold in our minds and hearts. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha La'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. let us say Amen. We return to our Torah scroll for the second Aliyah. This second Aliyah, I apologize for not giving the page number for these Aliyot earlier. We are, of course, reading from Bereshit Genesis. The readings for Genesis are found on page 330. Rabbi Betzel read that first little section. We're now going to be reading from the second chapter, which begins on page 333. Spencer, if you will kindly put up the text. Our second reader is Michelle Vlamas, and we call her to the Torah. Ta'amod Nechama Mendel Bat Shmuel Vazaisel. And for this Aliyah, we invite all those who just feel like they are in need of an Aliyah, of a being raised up. Again, the Torah blessings are on page 230. All those who wish to chant the blessing for this Aliyah are welcome to do so. And of course, with your mics unmuted so that we can hear one another in community. Page 230. Here we are. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMorach. Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
ויכלו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבת ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת בכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות.
Let's read together the second blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen v'amen. Yasher kochachem to our Torah readers and to all of those who received an Aliyah. May the work of your hands be strengthened as you go forward into this new year, and may this blessing of an Aliyah at the beginning of the year set the tone for your constantly rising up as the year unfolds. Thank you so much, everybody. We are now going to move to page 268 for our second set of shofar blessings, shofar calls. With this set of shofar calls, let us meditate upon zichronot, our relationship with the eternal, and our centrality in the universe, and the notion that all of creation was brought forth for our sake. May we ever be worthy. Please mute your mics, and Spencer will share the next shofar calls with you. Okay. Tekiah. Shivarim Truah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shana Tova. Before I begin my sermon, I would encourage you again, if you missed this at the beginning, to grab a piece of paper or pen and pencil, since in a little bit I will invite you to do just a little bit of personal writing or reflection. If it's not your custom to write on Chag, that's perfectly fine. We can certainly sit in silent reflection, but I'm hoping that the things that you write will be meaningful for you going forward. Spencer, you have all my slides ready to go, yes?
Yes.
Fabulous. So, how are you doing, all of you? No, really, how are you doing? Spencer? Do you have the first slide? There we go. This tweet came across a week or two ago. I feel like after the year we've all had, our rabbis should be able to stand up on Rosh Hashana and just exclaim, "I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to say." And we'd all kind of nod and say, "Cheers, I'll drink to that." This tweet was shared in a clergy group a week or two ago, and while many of the responses were pretty funny, there was certainly an undercurrent of burnout running through the thread. 3 months ago, right around Shavuot, I was doing what many of you are doing. Looking forward to a summer of reconnecting with friends and family, stepping boldly into a world full of vaccinated people, and casting off my mask, and finally being able to engage in such normal activities as eat inside a restaurant, attend a concert, hug people, and as many of you know, most importantly for me, dance with a partner. But even as I looked with gleeful anticipation to doing these things and planning my summer break, I found myself feeling not quite right yet. I was not sleeping well. I felt anxious and blue without any reason I could put my finger on, and I was struggling with completing tasks, even the joyful task of planning my vacation. Then, the day I was meant to leave for my break, I attended a seminar for women clergy, led by the psychologist and teacher, Dr. Betsy Stone. It was an eye-opener, and I've been pondering her words all summer. So let me share just a little bit of her genius with you. First, a few words about trauma. Dr. Stone offers us this definition. Trauma is the response to a deeply distressing or disturbing event that overwhelms an individual's ability to cope, causes feelings of hopelessness, diminishes their sense of self, and their ability to feel a full range of emotions and experiences. Trauma does not only come from negative events. The birth of a child can be as traumatic as the death of a parent. Let's unpack Dr. Stone's definition a bit, starting with deeply distressing or disturbing event. You can unshare that, Spencer. We can think of individual, personal, or national traumas as a single event. For example, the loss of a parent or 9/11. But we have experienced over the last 18 months ongoing and compounding events. The beginning of a pandemic, shortages of food and toilet paper, being stuck in our homes without our usual social contacts, increasing awareness of people we know succumbing to the virus. And then George Floyd's murder, and then a deeply divisive and critical election, and then January 6th insurrection at the Capitol, and so on and so on. Our experience has not been of a single trauma that we can process and then move on from, but rather of cascading traumas, each one building on and triggering responses from the one just prior without an opportunity to process or heal. And every new trauma triggers older traumas in our bodies and our brains. Now, how about overwhelms an individual's ability to cope? Lack of coping leads us to, instead of doing something different, doing the same thing more. What this looked like during the pandemic was an extraordinary increase in alcohol consumption, as well as increases in domestic abuse. In addition to having to survive through these extraordinary times, we were simultaneously asked to do and learn things in a moment when our brains were just not able to meet the challenge. All of a sudden, we were required to become technical experts and to deliver our work product in completely new and different ways, some of which are decidedly not in line with the kind of work we want to deliver. This is especially true for anyone delivering care or education. Many of us had to learn to teach our children at home or navigate shopping online or do things that others might ordinarily do for us, like cleaning our own toilets. The impact of all this could be seen in how many of us struggled and maybe continuing to struggle in our daily lives. I am a hopeless science nerd, so I will not bore you with 120 minutes of neuroscience seminar, but I will instead just share the salient bits. Despite living 21st century lives, our brains and bodies have not changed very much for thousands of years, and they're designed to protect us from danger and help us survive. As part of that system of survival, we experience a fight, flight, or freeze response to perceived danger. Fear is experienced in our amygdala, the way back part of our lizard brain, which has no language. It immediately shoots stress hormones into our entire body and diverts glucose from our organs to our large muscle groups so that we can act quickly. Essentially, our blood is hijacked by our muscles instead of our brain so that we can react to fear and not lollygag about contemplating fear. It's really a brilliant system. However, it is intended to be put to use only occasionally, not every single day. And what is the result of experiencing fear or perceived or real threats every day at every hour? COVID brain. Not recovering from COVID brain fog, that's a completely different thing. COVID brain is your brain trying to protect you, keeping you from thinking so that you have energy for survival. But the practical effect is that we are emotionally a bit flat, cognitively kind of foggy. This is the last part of Dr. Stone's trauma definition: feelings of helplessness and diminished sense of self and ability to feel a full range of emotions and experiences. It's actually not so dissimilar from chemo brain, for those of us who have experienced that, or from new mom brain. And a great many people have been to see their doctors over this last year, newly worried about sudden onset of dementia. Here are some examples. A woman told her friend she'd gotten in the shower with her glasses on. Her friend said, "That's nothing. I got in with my clothes on." Another reports talking on the phone while preparing dinner and stirring the rice with her cell phone. My son recently put the milk away in the medicine cupboard. Wife: "Honey?" Husband: "What?" Wife: "I've already forgotten." Perhaps these feel familiar to you. Perhaps you've had your own experiences of COVID brain resulting in some sort of funny or humorous in the moment experiences. If you'd like to share them, you can do so in the chat. We have another share, Spencer, I think. Tasks that previously were routine now require us to exert effort to complete them. Besides making it harder to function, these difficulties make us reevaluate our self-perception. We feel less capable, less clever, less accomplished, and that is, of course, impactful for our mood and our sense of self. We are left feeling depleted and broken and without reserves, The smallest thing can send us into tears. Our distractedness has shown up in other ways. A startling increase in broken toes as we pay less attention and walk into things, and more broken teeth as we grind away our anxiety in sleep. Regressive behaviors like showering and brushing our teeth less often, as evidenced by a drop in the sale of those products over the last year. We are also so tired from all that we are carrying, and even from decision fatigue, so that even simple decisions, what to make for dinner, this pasta or that one, salad or soup, feel overwhelming. All of this is really our brain trying to protect us, but it certainly is making it difficult for many of us to move through life with the same ease and efficiency we once enjoyed. How do we move forward? It's important to realize, and I think the Delta variant has really brought this home to us, that there is no return to normal, at least not in the way we once imagined it. We have lived through and continue to experience something extraordinary, and we will need to grow and change to reckon with it and to move into a different kind of normal. A congregant mentioned a recent beach trip where she felt it was helpful to be knocked about in the waves a bit, regaining her balance each time. And I immediately thought of the Chumbawamba song, I get knocked down, but I get up again. No, you're never going to keep me down. I get knocked down, but I get up again. No, you're never going to keep me down. Perhaps it's familiar to some of you. Sometimes when we get knocked down, we break and shatter like precious china into jagged and sharp pieces. Other times we get tumbled, like rocks at the shore, and come out somehow smoother, softer, and more polished. It's actually, living through a pandemic does not require resilience. It requires something even more elusive and difficult: growth. Growth is transformation, and growth is always painful, I'm sorry to say. So let us stop looking for a return to life as it was in the past, but instead look forward to how we have grown and can continue to grow. Over this last year and a half, what have you learned? What have you come to recognize as priorities for yourself or for your family? What are your COVID keepers, those practices or experiences that you want to hold on to guide you to living a more meaningful life? What do you want to discard and leave behind? I would like to invite you to pause for a few moments to reflect on this, and if you wish, to actually write down for your subsequent reflection what you wish to keep from this past year and what you wish to cast away. We'll give you a few minutes for your own reflections and writing. I hope that you'll continue to consider these reflections later today or in the days ahead. When I'm struggling I often turn to the words of Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, a man who faced incredible hardships and depression throughout his life, yet remained somehow optimistic and focused on joy. Let us try to find joy within our new world and to grow and even blossom into it. Let us each help one another pick up the pieces of our former lives and build a mosaic wherein the most valued bits are kept and those with little merit can drop away. As we step together into 5782, let us also work to smooth our broken edges and to have compassion for the sharper edges and perhaps words of our friends and companions. May we each find the strength to grow into the new world with grace, with self-compassion, and with love. Shana Tova Umetuka. Rabbi Betsy?
Spencer, are you going to put up the?
Do you have Joanne? Do you have Joanne Fink's each step, Spencer? Thank you.
Each step of our journey leaves an indelible mark on our souls. The challenges you have been facing have forced you to grow in ways you might never have imagined before everything changed, before the curveball rocked your world, before your life veered unexpectedly towards an unknown destination, before you became so weary that you weren't sure you could take another step, before you began to open your heart to possibility, before you discovered that love makes the journey worthwhile. And now you stand here at the crossroads of your old life and the person you are becoming. Celebrate the opportunity to re-envision your life's purpose. The time will come for your soul to soar. Transition leads to transformation, and you are on the path to wholeness. Page 284.
With the final set of shofar calls, let us meditate on those aspects of our relationship to the universe that cannot be defined in metaphors, but which comprise our essence. Okay. Tekiah. Shivarim Truah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Teruah. Tekiah Gedolah.
Wow. Page 292. I invite you to please unmute and rise in body or spirit and to state quietly aloud the names of your loved ones so that we can hear them and support each other in community as we read together the Mourner's Kaddish. Read together. Yitkadal.
ויתקדש שמי רבה, יעמוד ויפרח וירצה וימליך ויתקשה, ויכון וביומך, חיי תכון בעתידך, בעגלה ובמעון קריב, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ועד. יתברך ויתברך ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. יתהדר ויתעלה וישתנה לעילה ושירתה משפחתה ונכדתה אמירן בעלמא ויתקיים יהי שלמה רבה וישמעיה חיים עלינו כל ישראל אמן שלום ברומה עשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל אמן.
Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen.
Amen.
Page 294.
So we are nearly at the conclusion of our service. If you've not already done so and wish to gather for yourself wine or juice, bread, apples, and honey, this is the time to do that while we sing Hayom Te'amtzenu on page 294. Hayom, 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 hayom te'amtzenu. Let's all say Amen. Hayom, 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 hayom tevarchenu. Amen. Hayom, 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 hayom tegadleinu. Amen. Hayom, 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 hayom tedroshenu letova. Amen. Hayom, 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 hayom tichtavenu lechayim tovim. Amen. Hayom, 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 hayom tishma shavatenu. Amen. Hayom, 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 hayom titkabel barachamim uvratzon et tfilatenu. Amen. Hayom, 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 hayom titmechenu bimin tzidkacha. Amen. Before we conclude, Karen, do we have any announcements for today or tomorrow? Oh, Karen has frozen and is muted.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. First of all, Rabbi Spar and Rabbi Betzel, thank you so much for the beautiful service and the inspiring words to take us into tomorrow and the next tomorrow and the next tomorrow. A couple of brief announcements. It looks like the weather's going to be absolutely perfect for a early morning get together at Plum Island. So those that are inclined to get up early and join us, sunrise is at 6:15. We'll probably start congregating about 6-ish or 5:45, and we're on the first parking lot on the left on Sunset Drive up at the Plum Island Refuge. So please come join us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Please make sure you've registered for each individual service you want to attend. And we will be raising a sukkah that will be available for folks to spend some time in and enjoy, and there will be information in the bulletin as to what day we expect to raise it, but it will certainly be up in time for religious school on, I believe it's September 19th, the day before Sukkot starts. And folks will be welcome to come by and help us raise it. They'll also be welcome to come by and just spend some time there and try and be a little bit of a physical connection and presence together, although this is fun. So anyway, happy and healthy new year to everybody that's here. And thank you again to Rabbi and Spencer for your support.
Thank you so much, Karen. We turn to page 300 for the blessings of the day, which Rabbi Betzel will lead us.
Great. So if you have a little bit of wine, please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim.
Chaim. Then this is smelled good all morning. If you have a little bit of lechem, join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. V'te'avon.
Te'avon. And some apples, a little bit of honey. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri ha'etz. Just this
I
time
got
of
honey
year.
and no apple.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Abotenu v'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu shana tova u'mtuka. May your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year, and may it be a sweet year.
Amen. Amen. And friends, let us sing our way into the new year. Spencer, do you have that one more slide with Sylvia Goldstein's text? Oh, yay. Okay. So my colleague and friend Sylvia Goldstein every year writes a new verse for this metrical tune for the new year. So we'll sing the words that we know, and then we'll sing Sylvia's new verse. Leshana tova tikatevu, Leshana tova tikatevu, tikatevu, Shana tova. May you have a happy new year. May you have a happy new year. A good year, a sweet year, a peaceful year. To you and to all whom you hold dear, a very happy new year. May peace, hope, and faith shine through, with joy, health, and love ever true. In the year 5782, Lishana Tova. Shana Tova, everyone. We look forward to seeing you possibly this afternoon at the family service with Rabbi Betzel at 3. Make sure you've registered for that if you're planning to come. And perhaps tomorrow at Plum Island. And of course, this coming Shabbat. So many opportunities to be together in these days ahead. Shana Tova umitzuka to everyone. Mwah. See you all soon.